Good morning, everybody. Good morning, and welcome to our 7th session of Black August Weekly. Thank you all for joining us today. So today we are gaining our inspiration and wisdom from 1960, the year of Africa. We're going to begin our program with some power-up yoga led by Alexandria, followed by our Black August Weekly lesson led by Mr. Mike. And then we're going to have our poetic expression with Shirmina, and then we'll finally close with our closing meditation with Najiari. All right, so now we can move into our morning yoga.
Hello, everyone, Risings. My name is Alexandria, and thank you all for joining us for week 4 of Black August Weekly. We're going to get started in a cross-legged seated position. If you are able to come to the floor, if you're not, you can remain seated in the chair. And we're going to bring our hands, palms facing down, for some groundedness, to feel a little more rooted. And begin to bring awareness to the body. We're first going to start with bringing awareness to the toes. And if you're resting in a cross-legged seated position, bringing awareness to the legs resting on top of your feet. And then your palms resting on top of your lower thighs. Bring awareness to the shoulders. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. And then bring awareness to the face, relaxing the face muscles, relaxing the tongue off the roof of the mouth. And then begin to soften your gaze, lower your eyes. And now bring your awareness to your breath. Filling up on your inhale through your nostrils. And exhaling out of your mouth. Sigh, let it out. Inhale up through your nostrils. As you inhale up, feel your belly come forward. Expanding. And exhale, sigh, let it out. Again, inhale up through your nostrils. Filling up the space, keeping the shoulders relaxed, eyes soft, and exhale out of the mouth. And continue that just for a few moments at your own pace, recognizing the normal breath, the normal cycle of breathing. And I'd like to set an intention for today. Just on gratitude and gratification, first for yourselves, and then to your loved ones and your family and your ancestors and just your culture in general. To the things that take you to the places where you need to go in life. Showing gratification for people and places and things, especially during these times. To remind ourselves to be grateful. And to remind ourselves to pat ourselves on the back when we are able to get through things and be resilient. Bring your awareness back to the breath. This time, as you inhale up through the nostrils, feel your belly come forward and fill up that space. Close the mouth and exhale out of the nostrils as well. Cultivating Ujjayi breath, or victorious breath. Inhale up through your nostrils. Close the mouth and exhale out of your nostrils. Allowing the exhale to be smooth and even. And again, inhale up through your nostrils. And exhale out of your nostrils. And softly, gently opening the eyes. You're going to inhale, sweep your arms up alongside your ears. Interlace your fingers. Flip your palms and relax your shoulders down. And then you're going to exhale, curl forward, hollowing out your back, pressing your hands forward towards the screen. And then inhale, open up, opening the chest, lifting the heart towards the sky. And exhale, let it out. Your eyes can remain open or you can soften them if you like. Inhale, open up. And exhale, curl forward. And last time, inhale, breathing, taking up the space. And exhale, hands to heart center. And then release your hands down. If you are able to, we're gonna come to stand. Bringing your feet hip width distance apart. And inhale, sweep your arms up alongside your ears, bring your palms to touch. And exhale, hands to heart center. And back down by your thighs. Inhale up again, breathing in the air. And exhale, hands down to heart center. And we'll do that one more time. Inhale up, breathing, filling up that space. And this time you're gonna exhale, fold all the way in half. Folding deeply in half. And now with your two fingers, with your pointer finger and your middle finger, you're gonna take those two fingers and wrap them around your big toes. As your feet press down towards the floor, your arms pull up, so you're going in opposite directions, creating a resistance in opposite directions. Lowering the chest so it comes in closer to the top of the thighs. Continue to press down on your feet as your hands pull up. Engage your quadriceps. Engage your femur bones, pressing your femur bones back into the meat of your thighs. And then drop the crown of your head down towards your floor or towards your mat. And continue, it's a constant pull, push and pull. Pushing, pressing down on your feet. And then exhale, release your hands and shake it out. And then this time you're going to take your hands, the palm of your hands face up towards the ceiling, towards the sky. And you're gonna shimmy your feet on top of your hands, bringing your toes to the crease of your wrist. Again, you're pressing down with the feet. Your hands pull up, going in opposite directions, creating resistance, opening up the upper back, engaging the quadriceps, the legs, and allow the crown of your head to drop. Just breathe, focusing on the breath, allowing the stretch to do what it does to the body. Then release your hands, shimmy them off of your feet. And inhale, sweep your arms up, slowly come to stand. Take hold of your left wrist. Feet are hip width distance apart, and exhale, fold over to your right. Leaning over. Really extending, stretching this left arm. And breathe. Allow the gaze to be down towards the floor. And inhale back up to center. Take hold of your right wrist. And exhale, leaning over to the left. Focusing on the breath, allow the gaze to be down towards the floor. And inhale back to center. This time you're gonna release your hands, so they're now apart. Exhale, turn out to your left, and bring your arms down to a T. And then once they come down to a T, open up a little more to the left, rotating the torso, keeping the feet rooted and planted in the floor. And breathe, allowing the stretch to do what it does to the lower back, to the ribs. And then allow the chin to float in the direction of the shoulder behind you, of your left shoulder. And inhale, turning back to center, arms come alongside your ears. Turn out to your right. And exhale, arms out to a T. Turning the torso out more to the right. And then floating the chin in the direction of your right shoulder. And breathe. Inhale, hands back to center. And then release them down and exhale alongside your hip legs. Shake them out. Inhale, arms up alongside your ears. We're going to do this again. Interlace the fingers, flip the palms, relax the shoulders, and we'll do it standing up. And exhale, curl forward, hollow out the back. Pressing the palms towards the screen. Inhale, open back up. Open up a little more, bringing the arms back, opening the chest, lifting the chin, showing gratitude. And then exhale, bowing in reverence and greatness. Inhale, back to center, back up. Release the hands, exhale, hands to heart center. Placing one hand on top of the heart and one hand on the lower belly. Soften the gaze, root down on the floor, on your rug or your mat. And bring your awareness back to your breath. Being grateful for every new moment, for every new experience. Inhale up through your nostrils. And exhale, sigh, let it out. Let it go. Anything that doesn't serve you. Inhale back up through your nostrils, filling up the belly. And exhale, sigh, let it out. Bring your hands to heart center. And bow in reverence. Namaste.
I hope everyone was able to loosen themselves up in their respective homes. We are going to move right through our program now and move on to our Black August Weekly lesson led by Mr. Mike on the Year of Africa, 1960.
I wanted to start out by thanking Alexandria. That was a real nice exercise. It felt real good. And I'll be talking to you, as Hannah mentioned, about the Year of Africa, which was 1960. My name is Mr. Mike. So I want to start out by talking a little bit about Black August in general. We've been doing this now for, I guess, this is the seventh session rather. And we've been talking about Black liberation movements that reached a critical juncture during the month of August. And these liberation movements have occurred all over the world, in particular Africa, the Caribbean, and the United States. Now, I want to let everybody know that these different movements, even though they occurred throughout the world, they inspired and informed each other. So there was a lot of communication that was going on as these things were occurring. People learned about interconnections between themselves and their own struggles, and they also supported what was going on in other places. So you can see at the picture here, Malcolm X and Kwame Nkrumah, who we're going to learn a little bit more about as we go on. So this is to give you a little bit of perspective with regard to geography. The star represents Philadelphia, and the distance between Philadelphia and Nigeria on the African continent is about 5,300 miles, which is about a 9-hour plane ride. From Philadelphia to London in Europe is approximately 3,500 miles, which is about a 7-hour flight. And between London and Nigeria is about 3,100 miles, which is about 6 hours. Now, that's in today's modes of travel. But what we're going to talk about happened since before the 1800s, or before the 1900s, let's say. And in those days, the modes of travel were much longer. So I'll talk a little bit about colonization. And colonization is the theft of land and resources, the exploitation of people's labor, and brutal violence that occurred against Africans by the people in European countries. Now, here are 5 examples of European countries that were guilty of this: Belgium, England, France, Germany, and Portugal. But there were other countries involved as well. Now, in 1885, they had something called the Berlin Conference. And what they did was they put their own boundaries on the peoples of Africa and imposed their own religion, their own languages as well. And they did not take into consideration at all the languages and religions that were there, that were developed by the people in Africa for themselves. So now you had these other boundaries superimposed on top of them, and they just created more confusion. Talk a little bit about liberation movements. Oppressed people around the world have always developed ideas and plans about what freedom is and how they could get freedom. The African people organized liberation movements just like we did in the United States. There were mass political movements that were built across Africa that challenged colonizers through strikes, boycotts, and other forms of civil disobedience, and occasionally violence as well. This strategy was very similar to what we used in the United States, and leaders keenly watched what was going on in Africa. And as I mentioned before, they were inspired by it, and there were connections that were made. And I think the one that we're most familiar with probably is Malcolm X and the trips that he made to Africa. But we have to recognize that there were a lot of people who made these connections. Some of them were famous and some of them were not. So this is at a high level and also at a lower level that these connections were made, and they inspired people. So I'll talk a little bit about Kwame Nkrumah. So Kwame Nkrumah was a Ghanaian man, and he spent 10 years in the US, and he continued to develop his ideas about African independence. And you can see in the picture on the left, he went to school at Lincoln University right here in Pennsylvania, just outside of Philadelphia, where he was a member of Phi Beta Sigma fraternity, which is one of the, I believe it's called the Divine Nine fraternities and sororities that were started here in the United States. He went back to Ghana, and he started something called the Convention People's Party. In 1957, Ghana obtained their independence, and Kwame Nkrumah was the first leader of that country. You can see on the map where Ghana is located. Now, Martin Luther King and Coretta Scott King attended Ghanaian independence celebrations in Ghana, along with other people from the United States who were involved in the civil rights movement. So this was a worldwide celebration, and connections were made, as I mentioned before, between these people, and they were inspired Martin Luther King to continue on with his work. In 1960, this man, Ralph Bunche, said, 1960 will be the year of Africa because at least 4, but maybe 7 or 8 new member states into the United Nations will come from the continent of Africa. Now, Ralph Bunche was the first African American to win the Nobel Peace Prize. He was an undersecretary at the United Nations, and he was involved in several high-level negotiations throughout the world, in particular in the Middle East. And for that, he won that Nobel Peace Prize I mentioned. So this was a significant event in 1960 when he said this. So now what actually happened, he underestimated, and there were actually 17 nations that achieved independence in 1960. And you can see in the map, they're represented in blue, and 8 of them achieved independence in the month of August, which is quite fitting with regard to our theme of Black August. So you can see these countries were primarily in Western Africa and Central Africa. After 1960, other nations in East Africa started to get their independence, and the move for independence moved down the continent through Zambia, and later on during the 1970s and 80s into Zimbabwe and Angola, Mozambique, and it culminated in the independence from minority rule in South Africa and Namibia. And that occurred in 1994. So you can see there was a movement that encompassed the continent. So in 1960, in particular, England, France, and Belgium gave up control of their colonies. So we asked, why did this happen? Well, the primary reason was because African people continued to fight for their independence through those means that I mentioned before. And also, many African colonies had supported their colonizers in their fight against Hitler during World War II. After World War II, the European countries were also weakened. So that was in the early 40s. These things continued up to the point where in 1960, independence was given to these different countries. So here are some of the leaders of some of those countries. Félix Houphouët-Boigny of Côte d'Ivoire, otherwise known as Ivory Coast. Leopold Senghor of Senegal. And incidentally, he was also a world famous poet. Nnamdi Azikiwe of Nigeria was the first leader of Nigeria. And incidentally, he also went to school in Pennsylvania. He attended the University of Pennsylvania. Once again, where he was inspired to continue his fight when he returned to Nigeria. And Patrice Lumumba of the Congo, and there's a whole nother story associated with him, which I invite you to go and look at because that's quite interesting, what happened with him. So these are some pictures to give you an idea of what was going on in Africa with average people in 1960. And you may see a lot of similarities between the lives that they lived and what we do here, or how we were living our lives during 1960. You may notice this family is eating cornflakes. That was something that spread throughout the world. And that's true of a lot of products. So now we're going to have a short poll. Okay, please select the answer or answers that best describes your association with Africa. I do not know anyone from Africa. I know someone from Africa. I have family from Africa. I have family in Africa. I have been to Africa. So please find the one or more answers that best describes your situation. So it looks like everybody knows someone from Africa, or 86%, which is great. I have family from Africa, 14%. I have family in Africa, 7%. That's half of those people. And I have been to Africa. Half the people have been to Africa. That's wonderful. So what I'll tell you is, when I was coming out of college, I did not know anyone from Africa. I had not been to Africa. But I had an opportunity to go there. So I traveled to Africa. And you remember that I mentioned to you before that a lot of people, and we showed you how a lot of high-level people, Martin Luther King, Nnamdi Azikiwe, Kwame Nkrumah, had connections in the United States. But as I mentioned to you, this also occurred with lesser known people. So when I went, I had an opportunity to visit a refugee camp in Botswana. I did some volunteer work in Botswana, and I had an opportunity to meet these young men here who were refugees from Mozambique. At this refugee camp that I stayed in, there were people from Mozambique, from Angola, from other countries who were still there. The people from Zimbabwe had just left because this was in 1980 and Zimbabwe had just received their independence. So we had an opportunity to go to Zimbabwe about 2 or 3 months after independence, and that was also an interesting opportunity to see what a newly independent country was like. So we traveled from there. We went to South Africa, which was still under what we call minority rule under apartheid. So our group had a chance to go to Johannesburg. We went to Soweto. We had an opportunity to meet with a lot of people there. I had an opportunity to go to a trial that occurred for 2 friends of mine who were on trial with the government because of the anti-apartheid activities that they had engaged in while they were there. Well, they were South Africans. So one young man was eventually banned, which meant that he was a non-person. He couldn't meet with more than 3 people at a time, and he had to stay in his home. So that's this man here. I met with, this is years later, I met him again in England, where he was a professor at the University of Oxford, Oxford University. And I also had an opportunity to meet this woman, this picture you see of the woman. And I met her in Botswana, and she had been smuggling African National Congress literature back into South Africa, which was illegal and was punishable by being banned. I had met with her afterwards in South Africa, and later on, she came to the United States and she became my wife. Up until the point where she passed away about 8 years ago. And as a result, I now have family in Africa. And this is my family. I visited with them last year, had an opportunity to see them. And you can see they look a lot like we do. So Kwame Nkrumah, in 1968, this is something that he said: the Black Power movement in the USA and the struggles of peoples of African descent in the Caribbean, South America, and elsewhere form an integral part of the African politico-military revolutionary struggle. Our victory will be their victory also. And I might add, their victory was our victory also. So I believe we all have a part to play in the continuing struggle. And to paraphrase or to mention what Samora Michel said in Mozambique, a luta continua, which is the struggle continues. And that's something, that's a slogan that was used throughout Africa to characterize that our struggles are ongoing.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Mike, for your thorough research and also your personal connection to your work. I appreciate everything that you shared with us today about the Year of Africa and about your family. For now, we are going to take what it is that we've learned and move it into our poetic expression with Shirmina Smith.
Hi, everyone. My name is Shirmina Smith, or Shirmina Geneva. I am a spoken word artist from Philly. I'm 22 years old. I've been doing poetry for the last 8 years. I'm so excited to be a part of the African American Museum in Philadelphia to do this because Black August and Black liberation in general is something I'm very passionate about in my craft. So we can get started. Next slide, please. Okay, So this was the year of independence for 17 countries in Africa. I've listed the dates of some of them, starting from the very first of the year, Cameroon, January 1st, back down to Tania, all the way down to November 28th. So it was a long year fighting for independence in Africa, which also, like Mike said, reflected back in the States with the Black Liberation movement there. Some of these countries, also keep in mind, weren't originally named these countries when they became independent, and some also split. For instance, Mali split. It was originally the Federation, and they split into two countries. So just think about that when we're talking about independence and renewal of a state or of a community. We can go to the next slide. Okay, so for this workshop, we're going to talk about the connections between independence and interdependence. So in 1960, 17 sub-Saharan African countries gained their independence and had to learn to be interdependent on their own people to rebuild a nation. Before the nation was independent, the communities and the tribes and the ethnic groups definitely stuck together and definitely became interdependent with each other. However, the colonial powers allowed much of the government and the commerce and all that to be all in their hands. And we see that also in the United States, where Black people were fighting for their independence in a way that wasn't seen before. A lot of our fight for independence mostly had to do with autonomy and personal autonomy and being able to do what you want to do as a person, as a human. But now this is where the transition to how can I have ownership? How can I have power? How can I create a nation for myself? So next slide, please. Okay, so independence and interdependence. From who to you and from you to us. So a lot of our Black liberation movement started off as figuring out who we were individually, who we are as Black people. Are we Black? Are we African American? Are we Afro-Caribbean? So there was a lot of identity in finding independence. And once there was more autonomy, especially after slavery was abolished, after Jim Crow, there was figuring out how can I involve my independence, who I am as a single person, and allow my interdependence with my community and with the people around me to build a nation or to build a community. So to start off this poetry session, I want us to first start off on making a list of things that you own. These can be physical items, your car, your home. It could be metaphorically, your autonomy, your freedom, your creativity, just things that are personally yours and that you know, or you have a general understanding no one can take from you. So I can give everyone about 15 to 30 seconds to do that. Okay. Does anyone want to read off their list? I wrote like 4 things. My name, my home, my love, and my body.
I have 2.
Okay.
My mind. Okay, because you can't take my mind unless I let you. So my mind. And I was thinking about myself, but then again, every time I open up the news and see someone take someone who looks like me life, and I say, okay, I don't even know if I own my life because I don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
And in my car, I can say definitively, but mainly my mind and my car.
Okay. If no one else can go to the next list. So now make a list of things you belong to. or places you belong to, or groups that you belong to, yourself, the basketball team that you are on, or whatever the community you're part of, the org, the schools, things that you belong to that helped define who you are as well. Think about that. Does anyone want to read their list? I see in the chat, you have Girl Scouts, Delta Sigma Theta. I love that. I have Black community, the queer community. I belong to myself. I belong to my spirituality, my poetry community. Also, when we think about things that we belong to, I think just due to ancestral trauma, we think of things that we are bonded to and chained to. But here I want us to think more freely of things. When we say we belong to things, what place holds me? What place can hold me the way that I am? And when we think of things that we own, what things do we bring into our space that makes us who we are? And these two things reflect our personality, our identity. Okay, so before we get into the writing part, we're gonna do an I am poem. Before I explain that, I want to talk about ownership and community. Ownership has been a huge part of our identity for African American folks, or African diasporic folks. And what we have and the things that we own, this has been a long journey for that. And since before the Atlantic slave trade, the things that belong to us often shaped who you are, and often gave us more autonomy, gave us more of independence, more of an identity. Even things of being able to buy a home, that wasn't always a privilege for African diasporic folks. And that changes who you are. Being able to own property changes what you can do. And because it changes what you can do, it can ultimately change who you are. You can go from, if you don't have land, you can't be a farmer. You get land, you become a farmer, now you can feed your community. Our identity in our communities, in our tribe, and the places that we built around us has shaped who we are all the time. This is how we start the process of independence and autonomy, and then recognizing other people's independence and autonomy and creating interdependence. Now, I am poem is just a poem where you start off each line with I am. I'm not sure. So yeah, we start the poem off with I am, and then use from the list of the things that you own and the list of things that you belong to. For example, one of the things that I own, I said my name. So I am my name. One of the things that I said that I belong to was the writing scene, the poetry scene. I am the poetry scene. So you can use all the things on your list, but just choose a couple. You can alternate however you want to do that, but make sure the structure is I am. Okay. So does anyone want to read their poem? I can go first. I am my name. I am a Black nation. I am my body. I am the writing scene. I am Philly. I am my love. I am my family. I am my body. I am my mind. I am your favorite John. And I am myself.
I can go ahead. Sure. I am my ancestors. I am my family. I am myself. I am my present. I am my past. I am my future.
Thank you. I see in the chat, I am me, I am her, I am him. I love that. Okay. So I like this quote by one of my favorite activists and speakers of all time. It is the call for Black people in this country to unite, to recognize their heritage, to build a sense of community. It is a call for Black people to define their own goals, to lead their own organizations. So I believe that through finding out who we are as people, gaining our own autonomy, our own independence, through the things that we own, through the things that we belong to, allows us to have more trust in the independence of others and to be interdependent and create a community and unite. On your list, I want everyone to look at their poem and just, are there things that are missing? Are there things that are that you know are you, but are not on this list? So I want us to always think about how we can expand ourselves, because once we expand, we have no choice but to bump into others when we expand. And it's how we bump into others when we expand that creates our community and allows us to unite. So I just wanted to do an I am poem because the idea of the Year of Africa was independence and starting nations and creating foundations for the future. And just like it was during the civil rights movement, it was very hard. It caused a lot of civil war, it caused a lot of violence, poverty, fighting for who you are and fighting for your autonomy. And I just hope that reading this poem and reading all the things that you are allows you to see that that is all worth it. That everything that you're fighting for to be who you are and to get where we need to be is worth it. Because just look at your list, all the things that you are, that list can grow. And I want us to all help it grow with each other. Thank you. That is my workshop. Again, just take home the little things that you are and the little things that you belong to, the things that belong to you. And how can we build that? How can we use our tools and someone else's tools and someone else's tools and build a nation? Again, thank you so much. If anyone has any questions, I'm willing to take them. On the screen is my email and my Instagram for further contact.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Shirmina, for connecting with me for Black August Weekly. It's been such a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
All right. Wonderful, wonderful. I hope everyone's keeping their poems in their diaries or their journals, wherever they'd like to keep them, and growing their list. So we are now closing down. It's been another wonderful hour and 15 minutes together. So we are now going to move into our closing meditation with Najiri.
Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me well. I'm a writer, storyteller, and all about solidarity, liberation, and honoring our existence. And I'm very grateful to be here with all of you. My light honors yours. The beauty in mine honors the abundant beauty in yours. You're fully in your power, wisdom, and intuition. You're guided and loved, and you're here. I give thanks for your existence and that you're being present with me, with yourself, and with each other. And I'm going to invite you to close your eyes. All right, we're going to start taking deep breaths. Inhale and exhale. Our ancestors, our guides, love and source of love, be with us in this moment. Make yourself as comfortable as you can. Relax your shoulders. Hands relaxed. Welcome the divine alignment of trust. Try to unclench your jaw. To relax your eyelids. Because you deserve to rest and be still. Embrace the wishes of your past ancestors, past generations. Gratitude to the 17 nations who fought for your liberation, for your freedom. The land of Africa is within you, is rooting for your well-being. They've worked for you to be here, and we give thanks for that. Breathing. Feel your breath moving through your lungs, your body rising and slow moving. You're here, you're present, and you exist in this very moment. Acknowledge the sounds that you hear right now. The drums, let them speak through you. We give thanks that you're experiencing life in this moment. Let us move inward. Acknowledge your body. Acknowledge your breath, your mind, your thoughts, your emotions, your breath as it moves through you. Takes care of you. If you're having trouble being present in this moment, know that it is okay. Allow your emotions and your thoughts to be. And as they come, imagine them leaving and going with the air. Leaving gently with the air. And relax further with each breath that you take. Give thanks to your heart. Face your power. Face your fortitude. Face your capacity to create change. And invite inner abundance in this moment. Remember where you come from, where you have been, all that you overcame to have you in this very moment. And welcome possibilities of where you're going. The resilience of your heart through all uncertainties, to trust and to be. Keep breathing. I'm going to take a deep breath. And I release. Again, deep breath and inhale. Release all that does not serve me well. Again, deep breath. And I release tension. Allow your breath to go deeper into relaxation and allow the light within you to keep growing. As you take a breath, imagine light in your heart, in your throat, in your womb, in your stomach. Just keeps healing the parts of you that you don't even know needed healing, but that you do know needs to heal. It is okay to feel how you feel now. It is okay to not have it all figured out. Give yourself permission to be. Grow and change every day because you are doing the best that you can. You're loved by millions of people who came before you. The right and capacity for interdependence lives within you. You are in remembrance by your ancestors who gifted birthrights within you. Keep breathing, acknowledge your heartbeat. Doing amazing. You're not an imposter. You have a seat at the table, designed for you in alignment. And dance African rhythms and a resilient love. You do. Designed for you in alignment. It is not easy, but keep going. Keep preaching. Keep creating. Keep thriving. Our ancestors achieved freedom when it was taught to be impossible. You are of possibilities beyond what you see right now. You are supported and cared for. You are a legacy, and history embodied within you, your legacy and history embodied within you. Imagine 2 things that you're grateful for in this moment. Gratitude for liberation, for solidarity, for your identity, for the I am. Stay within you. Now let us transport ourselves into intentions. We're going to inhale, manifesting solidarity and unity with all people of the African diaspora, of humanity. As you exhale, ancestral guidance pours in. We're going to inhale, manifesting, liberating abundance within you. And as you exhale, ancestral guidance pours in. We're going to inhale, manifesting deep love, resilience, and awareness of protected alignment. Resilience, deep love, and exhale, ancestral guidance pours in. Breathing, ancestral guidance pours in. You are in yourself. You are with yourself. You exist in this moment. You're an amazing human being. You're doing amazing. Your healing matters. You matter. One more deep breath. Feel the light moving through you. Sit with yourself for a moment. Be present. I'm going to be repeating divine alignment affirmations, and you can repeat after me within your mind or out loud. I am present. I am expanding, as we were speaking about earlier. I belong here. I am more than good enough, and I welcome all of my identities into being thriving. I will remember who I am and know that the answers are always within me. I am protected and loved. My voice matters. My story deserves breathing space. I deserve breathing space, always. I manifest self-determination, preservation, abundance, land sovereignty, healing, because source of love and guides are always with me. I am fully equipped, and what needs to come will come to me. We'll find each other. I have the resilience of thousands of ancestors within me, I'm going to keep tapping in. I am much more than any limiting beliefs. The truths of my ancestors, Africa, my ancestors, past generations, myself, my spirit, never left me. We're always connected. I can trust and move beyond fear, just as my ancestors did. I repeat that 3 times. I can trust and move beyond fear, just as my ancestors did. One more time. I can trust and move beyond fear, just as my ancestors did. Gently open your eyes. Gratitude. My existence honors yours. And yeah, my name is Najiari, storyteller, writer, and I'm always wishing you all the best. Thank you.
Ashe. Thank you so much, Najiari. It's so good for you to join us today. And it's always a pleasure to work with you. This is the first time and definitely won't be the last time. So thank you, and thank you all for participating in our 7th session of Black August Weekly. Take care, everyone. Take care and have a good rest of your day.